translation of the King James, which is pretty good stuff, actually. Here it is. Have you not seen a delusive vision and uttered lying divinations? Therefore thus saith the Lord God, because you have uttered delusions and seen lies, behold, I am against you, saith the Lord. My hand will be against the prophets who see lying visions, who give lying oracles. And they shall not be in my counsel of my people, nor enrolled in the register of Israel, nor shall they enter the land of Israel. And you shall know that I am the Lord thy God, because, yes, they have misled the people, led the people astray by crying peace when there is no peace. And because when the people of this kind build a wall, their prophets daub upon it whitewash. These are the daubers upon the wall of the Damascus document. And say to those who daub upon the wall with whitewash that it shall fall, and there will be a deluge of rain and hailstones and a stormy cyclone, and the wall will fall. And where is the daubing then which you have daubed upon it with? And then it goes on like that. This is wild stuff. These people are crazy people, but they're quite sane in their craziness. And you just have to read everything together. Okay. I think enough from the scrolls. Let's go back. So we do have someone who prophesies illusions. Now, Paul says in the vision that he got, so God chose to reveal his Son in me, that I should preach the gospel about him to the nations, Galatians 1:16. Nor did I go up to Jerusalem, as we said last time, to those who were apostles before me, but I immediately went away into Arabia. And later I returned again to Damascus. And after 3 years I went up to Jerusalem to make friends with Peter, and remained with him 15 days, at which time I met James, the brother of the Lord, but I did not meet anyone else, and no one was not known by sight to the churches of Christ, or whatever it was we read last time. Now he says, he doesn't even say about any vision, or Paul, why persecute me, or anything like that. He just says that he got some revelation that he should teach this to the Gentiles, and he didn't discuss it with any human being at all, but he went away to Arabia. And then later he came back to Damascus, and then after 3 years went up to Jerusalem. All right? Everyone agree that's what he says here? Anyone disagree on that point? Okay, Acts doesn't have any trip to Arabia. Acts doesn't have him not coming to Jerusalem for 3 years. Acts has him going right up to Jerusalem not long after and meeting everyone and having a grand old time up there. And everyone accepting him. So now, who do we accept? Acts or Paul? But, as I said, I always prefer Paul if it can be proved that this is an authentic letter over a, what we would call secondary or third, tertiary, third, fourth-hand source like Acts. So let's go on anyway. You have to make your own judgment. We've given you the material. Let's see what Acts says, because this is the most famous episode in early Christianity, aside from the Gospels, I think. Paul's vision on the road to Damascus. And we've just seen to it. And by the way, I think what he means by Arabia is the whole area that the Dead Sea Scrolls are calling the land of Damascus, that extends all the way up from Damascus to northern Syria and beyond into Adi Abini or Adi Abini, present-day Kurdistan, northern Europe. They're all Arabs as far as the Romans are concerned, and he calls it Arabia because that whole area is Arabia and Queen Helen is an Arab queen, and King Agbris is an Arab king as far as the Roman sources go. And you can read the Roman sources and convince yourself that that's how they refer to them. People like, I can't remember the different Roman historians, but Dio Cassius and some of the other Roman historians at this time, Tacitus, calls these people Arabs. Okay, I don't know if you can assimilate all this material, but I'm doing my best to try to make it clear to you. So, I got my letters from the high priest, or Paul gets his letters, and anyone who were of the way, notice the way terminology here. The way is very strong in the Dead Sea Scrolls. These people are called followers of the way in the wilderness, that means. Of Isaiah 43, make a straight way in the wilderness, which is interpreted in the Dead Sea Scrolls in the community rule if you're interested, in terms of studying the Torah. not the way it's interpreted here. Anyway, that he might bring them bound to Jerusalem. That's obviously supposed to be a parallel to what we got in the Pseudo-Clementines. Because the person who led the riot that attacked James, where James was injured, and they took him down to Jericho, then gets letters from the high priest to pursue the community to Damascus. So these two people are supposed to be the same person. Whoever's right, I don't know, but I'm saying that's why we can once more connect up with the Pseudo-Clementine recognitions. Anyway, as he drew near Damascus, and he doesn't mention this at all in Galatians, he says he didn't go to Damascus. He says he went to Arabia and then to Damascus. A light came, and I fell down, and a voice came out and cried, "Saul, Saul, why do you persecute me?" Probably one of the most famous episodes in early Christian history. And he said, "I am Jesus," and so on, and Paul trembled and was astonished, and he was speechless. And they brought him to Damascus. And he was 3 days, line 9, without eating and drinking. Not eating and drinking is a very important thing about the people who take Nazarite oaths. They will not eat or drink until they have killed Paul later on in Acts 22 and 23. And there were people who were taking these kind of oaths. But here, Paul is not eating and drinking. And then, who appears? Line 10. A certain disciple in Damascus named Ananias. Well, we've heard of him in Josephus, and we've heard of him in the Agabus. Do I think it's, and in the conversion of Queen Helen. Do I think it's all the same person? Yes, I do. I think these people are operating in the Syrian culture area, and this is Acts' version of the other materials. Now you can think whatever you feel is appropriate, and that's your choice. So Ananias gets a vision. He says, "Go to a street called the Straight," make a straight way in the wilderness, "and go to the house of one Judas." I think this is Thaddeus, Judas Thomas, Judas the twin, the one who we know went up to Agabus or sent Thaddeus, and so on and so forth. The Judas Barsabbas in the book of Acts, who takes the letters to Antioch. Here he's called Judas, and then later he's identified as, I think, a tanner. But anyway, Paul goes to the house of this Judas. I think it's this brother of Jesus that we call Judas, Jude, the brother of Jesus, in the letter of Jude. Jude, the third brother of Jesus. Simon, James, Jude, and Joseph. I can't